You know, for centuries, we've thought of the courtroom as this place of cold, hard facts, where emotions just don't belong. But what if a judge decided to just rewrite those rules? Well, this is the story of Judge Frank Caprio and how his wild, compassionate approach to justice ended up changing millions of lives.
I mean, this idea right here, from Aristotle, it's been the foundation of Western law for over 2,000 years. The judge is supposed to be this impartial umpire, just applying the rules, not letting feelings get in the way. It's a whole philosophy that puts Stoic logic above pretty much everything else.
And that question, that's really at the very heart of Judge Frank Caprio's entire career. He looked at that age-old idea and challenged it. He suggested that maybe, just maybe, understanding a person's story isn't a weakness at all, but actually a profound strength.
So, let's dive into our first section, a radically compassionate courtroom. This is where we'll see how Judge Caprio turned a totally normal municipal court into a place where empathy wasn't just, allowed, it was absolutely essential.
He practiced this philosophy we can call empathy as equity. See, in legal terms, equity is all about fairness. Judge Caprio just used empathy as his #1 tool to get there. He looked beyond the black and white text of the law to really truly understand the human being who is standing right in front of him. And the difference is it's night and day. A traditional court, it often sees a case number and is focused on punishment. But in Judge Caprio's court, which got famous on that show Caught in Providence, he saw a human being, and he focused on second chances. He wasn't just ruling on a parking ticket, he was interacting with a person's life.
And to really get his approach, you kind of have to understand the man himself. Frank Caprio was a first-generation American, the son of an Italian immigrant who taught him this simple, powerful lesson: help people when you can. You take that lesson, combine it with the discipline he learned as a combat engineer in the Army Reserve, and, well, that pretty much defined his entire worldview.
Okay, Section 2, the $25 ripple effect. This is the incredible story of the Philomena Fund and how one single small act of kindness from a TV viewer totally sparked a global wave of generosity.
So picture this. It's 2018. A viewer out in Indiana, a single mom named Angie Chesser, is watching his show. She's so moved, she mails a $25 check to the court and just asks him to help another mother who needs it. So Judge Caprio did exactly that. And after that story got on the air, donations just started pouring in. That became the Philomena Fund, which he named as a tribute to his own mother's generosity.
And you can see the fund's impact. I mean, really see it. In the case of a woman named Medina. She was homeless, living in her car, had only $5 to her name, and owed hundreds in fines. Judge Caprio just looked at her situation, brought up the fund, and told her that $300 of her debt was about to be paid by people who had never even met her.
But, and this is the part that always gets me, he didn't stop there. He looked past the legal problem and saw a human being who was in real trouble. He could see she was hungry. So before she left that courtroom, he made sure she got $50 in cash from the fund just so she could get a meal. That right there was the essence of his whole approach.
All right, on to Section 3, verdicts heard around the world. These are the moments from Caught in Providence that turned a small-town courtroom into a global phenomenon. Seriously.
Judge Caprio had this deep respect for military veterans, especially guys from the Vietnam era. He would often talk about the terrible reception they got when they came home, calling it a sad chapter in our history that we needed to make right.
So, when a Vietnam vet, walking with a cane because of back pain, came before him for a ticket he got near a VA hospital, the judge just listened. After hearing the man's story, he dismissed the ticket completely. His only verdict was, "Thank you for your service."
But his courtroom wasn't always so serious. It was also filled with this incredible charm. In one super famous case, a mother was in for running a red light, and she brought a special guest with her. The judge saw his opportunity, called his new little consultant up to the bench, and asked the big question. And her 3-year-old daughter, Justina, well, she did not hesitate for a second. She picked up that gavel and delivered her very honest and absolutely hilarious verdict.
But, despite the very official ruling from his tiny associate judge, Caprio overruled her. He dismissed the case and told the mother, who was pregnant at the time, to just save the money for her new baby.
Now, it's so important to get this. He wasn't a saint. He was human. And honestly, one of the most powerful moments from his courtroom came when he got it wrong. A young woman was in for some unpaid fines, and at first, he was really harsh with her, thinking she was trying to take advantage of his kindness. But then,
He did the most important thing he could possibly do. He listened. He learned her grandmother had just died, and that she, at only 22 years old, was now the sole guardian for her 16-year-old brother. And hearing that story, it changed everything in an instant.
He just stopped, paused, and offered this sincere, humble apology right there from the bench. He actually admitted his mistake, telling her, "I think I misread you." Then he worked with her to create a payment plan she could actually afford. It was just a truly remarkable display of humility.
Okay, our last section, a legacy of empathy. After serving for nearly 40 years, Judge Caprio retired in 2023. And the legacy he built by always helping people first, well, it extends far beyond his own courtroom.
The reaction to his work from all over the world has been just immense. People call him a legend, a real beacon of hope. My favorite one is this one, the Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross of the legal world. I mean, how great is that? He wasn't just a judge, he became this global symbol of kindness. At the end of the day, his story shows all of us that compassion isn't some kind of weakness in the justice system. It's maybe its greatest strength. He proved that one person's kindness can create a ripple that truly does touch millions of people.
And he left us all with this simple but profound instruction. It was the principle he lived by, it was the verdict he issued in his own life, and it's the challenge that he now leaves for the rest of us.